Alright guys, this is Battlecorps, another game for the SegaCD done by Core Designs, and I've shown you guys Star Soul and I've shown you guys BC Racers. These are all games made by Core Design for the SegaCD, and all of these games have one thing in common. They really take advantage of the SegaCD's, scaling and rotation hardware. Instead of just coming out with these games that are, full motion video games, or, plain Jane side scrollers that could have been done on the Genesis, and, maybe add in some cutscenes or add in some CD-ROM, some CD-Audio quality music. Core made games that actually took advantage of the SegaCD to make a game or gameplay that just couldn't have been possible on the Sega Genesis. And they made some of the best Sega CD games, and this one's up there. This one's no exception. I won't bore you with the storyline here. There are some cutscenes here at the beginning. This one's rather long, but nonetheless, let's get into the game. Once again, right off the get-go, you can see some of the use of the scaling hardware there, just scaling the Battlecorps and the Sega and the Core logos. The Core was known to do that. I mean, they took advantage of the Sega CD hardware every chance they got. Now, I'm going to put the game on easy because I was never really a fan of these kind of games. I never really got into Mech Warrior, and I never really got into a lot of the mech style games. So I wasn't really sure if I was going to like this game. As soon as I found out it was like a cockpit view sort of mech game, I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. Now this is actually pretty cool. This screen here is where you pick your mech, and you have basically 3 to pick from. They all have, different specs. It shows their speed and their armor and their power. You can see this guy here is kind of like the best all-arounder, so I'm going to start off with him. Another little intro or cutscene for each level. There's basically 12 or 13 levels in this game. And today is basically the first time I played this game. I've had this game for a little while. I actually bought it when I got Soulstar, and I did Soulstar right away. And like I said, I wasn't too sure if I was going to like this game. But here we are. We're going to give it a try. The controls are pretty unique. It has that sort of typical Mech Warrior thing where you don't just press forward to walk forward. You press, you pick a speed and then you walk at that speed. So you've got like 3 forward speeds. You got to stop in the middle, and you got 2 reverse speeds. Pressing up and down just switches between those. So it'll slow you down or stop you or reverse you or speed you up. And you basically just press up to pick the speed you want, and then you continue to walk that speed. This game does take advantage of the 6-button controller, although I have to say it's probably not as necessary as some of the other games that take advantage of the 6-button controller. Basically, the extra buttons just allow you to change weapons a little bit quicker, but at the same time, you'll have to remember you have basically the top 3 buttons, X, Y, and Z, and then holding down mode and pressing X, Y, and Z. Gives you your 6 or 7 weapons, but you'd have to remember that. So it may just be easier for you to toggle through the weapons with the C button, and that's what you do with the 3-button controller. You can look up, and there are times when you need to look up and aim up at enemies. So to do that, you have to hold the A button. And when you're holding the A button, it's almost like looking. So you can look up, you can look down, and you can move your turret. So you can look to the left while you're walking forward, or you can look to the right while you're walking forward. Of course, that gets a little confusing because you're walking one way, you're looking the other, and you got to keep track of what way your turret is facing. So I don't worry about that too much. Although as you get better at this game, I suppose it can help you avoid getting hit by enemies. But, like I said, that takes a little bit of getting used to. The controls in general take a little bit of getting used to, that idea that you have to hold A to look up. It took me a little bit to get used to. And then B is shoot. And like I said, C selects your weapons. And yeah, this first level here I really don't like. I just don't like the lava and the fact that everything's hot, and you can die just from the heat on this level. But I mean, looking at the graphics, once again, taking advantage of the scaling and rotation hardware in the SegaCD to make a game that couldn't have been possible without the SegaCD. And there's a lot of SegaCD games, like I said, that are just full motion video games. You know, and that was a fad. Some people like them, a lot of people don't. There's another category of SegaCD games, and a lot of times they're games that were released on the Genesis, and then if you get the SegaCD version, it's like, yeah, okay, so the music's a little better, and they added in, some full motion video cutscenes in between the levels. But for the most part, those games were done on the Genesis, or could have been done on the Genesis without the SegaCD. But the core games, BC Racer, Soulstar, and this, I just look at it. There's no way this could have been done on the Genesis. You've got like 3D gameplay, lots of enemies on screen, lots of things getting fired between you and the enemies, and that's all being scaled, obviously. All the enemies on screen is being scaled, and overall it runs pretty smooth. The controls in this game are smoother than you might think. You see this game running, and you think, oh god, it's on the old SegaCD or on the old Sega Genesis. You'd think the controls are clunky, but no, the controls are very smooth. The turning is very smooth. It takes a little bit of getting used to. Sometimes the enemies are hard to see, especially in these rocks, the way they scale. It's a little chunky looking sometimes, and sometimes it's hard to see the enemies, or it's hard to really know what some of the enemies are. But you get used to it. I got used to it, and I have to say, by the time I beat the first level, I was starting to get used to the controls, and still wasn't sure if I was going to like the game. Like I said, I didn't really like the first level, but the second level I really liked. The second level, you're underground. You don't have this lava crap everywhere where you gotta be careful where you walk. So I definitely like this level a little bit better. You take your time a little more. You have to aim up at enemies now. In the first level, there was really no enemies that were up high enough that you had to actually aim up to hit. And here in this level, you can see now we have to aim up higher to hit some of these enemies. And like I said, that takes getting used to, because you're pressing up and down to control how you walk forward and backwards, and then at the same time you got to hold A to look up, and it's kind of got that reverse thing, I think, where down is up, so yeah, you're gonna keep trying to look up, but you're not gonna look up because you're actually trying to look down, and you can't look down. You can look up and then you can look down to come back down to the center, but you can't look down below, looking straight ahead, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, that takes a little bit of getting used to, but I was definitely starting to like the game in the second level a lot more, and it took me some time to get used to the controls, like I said, and to get used to the graphics, which sounds weird, but you kind of have to get used to the graphics. Like I said, some of the stuff, the way it scales at you, the walls and the rocks and stuff, it's a little chunky. And sometimes you're not even sure if you're looking at an enemy or not, especially some of the ones that are like sunken into the ground. And so yeah, it takes some getting used to, but I'm starting to like this game, and I'm surprised. I'm surprised that I'm starting to like this game, because like I said, I've never really liked these kind of in cockpit first person mech style games, and I'm definitely starting to like this one. When you pick your mech, like I showed it changes, the specs, how fast some of them go and all that, but it also changes the way the cockpit looks. So that's pretty cool. I mean, you have 3 different cockpits, they all look pretty neat, but the layout's the same. You got your selected weapon on the left, your radar sort of in the middle, showing where your enemies are, Above that is the little thing that actually shows what speed you're going. I guess I didn't really explain that, but there's like 3 red, and then there's a line in the middle, and then there's 2 blue, and you can see like 2 arrows pointing, and you'll see that moving up and down as I play, and that's, you know, your speed indicator. It indicates that you're walking forward now, what speed you're walking forward, or if you're stopped or walking backwards. To the left and right of that is your weapons temperature. Your main weapon has no ammo, but of course if you hold it down long enough it'll overheat. Very typical of this type of game. To the right is your armor. You can sort of see there's 2 bars, you know, on the left and right side of a picture of your mech, and that's your shield. So, you know, the left side goes down and the right side starts to go down. Kind of looks weird. It's not like a left shield and a right shield, or something like that. That's just, you know, your overall health or shield is divided into 2 parts. The top right, you'll see the map, and the weird thing is, the map doesn't come up by default. The map is very helpful, so I highly recommend you turn that on. But yeah, it doesn't come up by default, and I swear I thought I read in the book that it does. It's supposed to be there by default, but it's not. And it's kind of weird. You have to press start twice. Like, pressing start obviously pauses the game. If you press pause twice, you know, relatively quickly, it'll bring up the map or put the map away. The third level here is a little bit strange. It's a much bigger open arena, and that's cool because, you know, the first level, like I said, was the lava. The second level was underground. I liked that a little bit more. Actually, I liked it a lot more. The third level here is a big open arena, you know, lots of enemies to kill. But there was something about it I couldn't figure out where to go for the longest time, until I figured out there's these transporter things that you can walk into, and it transports you into like another room. So you can't figure out how to get out of this room. And so yeah, this level, there's obviously something to do with the transporters. To be honest with you, I couldn't get past this level, and yeah, it gets pretty hectic. And like I said, I'm on easy. I'll admit I'm on easy, but yeah, it gets pretty hectic. I mean, there's a lot of enemies in this one. And once again, it's cool to have a different, you know, the level's not all the same, you know. From the first level to the second level to the third level, it was all pretty unique. And it'll be neat to see how it keeps that up. Obviously, some of the levels are going to have to eventually be similar. Like I said, there's 12 or 13 levels in this game. But I am enjoying it. It's a little more hectic in this level, and once again, you have enemies that, you know, you have to aim up to hit, and it's fun. I have to admit, I'm not a big fan of these kind of games, but this one's fun. You know, like I already said, the controls are really smooth, so the gameplay's really smooth, and I think if you like these kind of mech games, you're gonna love this game. It's another pleasant surprise on the SegaCD. You know, Core Design once again has done a great job showing what the SegaCD is capable of. Definitely check this one out. It's well worth playing on the SegaCD. And once again, just like BC Racer, just like Soulstar, and if you haven't seen Soulstar, go back to my channel, search for Soulstar. I think Soulstar is even better than this. Soulstar is one of the best SegaCD games. It really, once again, shows off what the SegaCD is capable of. If you own a SegaCD and you're looking for these kind of games, something that shows what the SegaCD is capable of, brings a new kind of gameplay to the system, you're going to want to check out their games. You're going to want to check out Soulstar. You're going to want to check out this, and you're going to want to check out BC Racer. They're all great games. These guys definitely knew what they were doing with the hardware. And yeah, I guess that's it. See you guys later.